Hello YouTube. Today we're going to talk about an aspect of injury that is starting to become more relevant on YouTube Fitness, which is a great thing, but it's still under discussed, and it's the psychological aspect of recovering from one. On the injury prevention playlist, you're going to find practical methods that are going to help you prehab potential injuries, rehab injuries that happen. I also describe certain ways to work around pain, but I've never really dwelled deep into the psychological and mental aspect of an injury. And it is a key aspect that sometimes is more important than what you're doing with your body. So an injury is never, of course, a good thing. And when it happens, we can feel betrayed because we can feel like we've done nothing wrong, right? It's our body's fault because it failed us. Or we can feel the other way around and feel guilt and feel like we betrayed our body. We did not move the body in a way that was conducive to health. We did not listen to the body when it told us that it was tired. We did not do our homework when it comes to nutrition, recovery, volume and intensity manipulation, etc. All in all, this is a lot of negative energy. And the issue with that is, whether you believe in that or not, healing from an injury takes a lot of mental strength. If you don't believe that you're gonna heal, you're never gonna heal. If you've ever had people in your life who are very sick, you will know that a strong mind and an iron will to heal and be healthy again is of the utmost importance. People have died from the flu because they didn't want to heal, because they didn't want to live, they didn't have the fire to push through. And some people have lived through incredible amounts of illness because they wanted to. It also applies to injury. If you're down on yourself, if you think, oh, poor me, I'm never gonna heal, all of that participates and makes the injury worse. And it's not just some spiritual thing, it's also the fact that if you're just complaining about it, it means you're not working on it. And for the most part, save for a few exceptions, when you have an injury, you should be walking, you should be moving around because you need blood to flow, you need the body to have a reason for the injury to repair itself if it has the ability to. Of course, if you snap the tendon is never going to reconnect itself, you need surgery. But for a lot of injuries, you can actually make them feel better if you walk, also because you will strengthen the muscle around that. But that's a different topic. I'm not going to tell you methods on how to make yourself feel better. I will make other videos about that for every single potential injury. Today we're talking about how to psychologically recover from an injury. What the injury is doing is it took your confidence away from you. It made you afraid. And fear is the enemy of progress. The issue you're going to find with an injury is that it has a tendency to plague the movement that you got injured on. For example, if you got hurt on squats, most likely you're going to feel apprehensive when it comes to squatting. And the issue when that happens is you're now going to be stiff and you're going to be expecting the pain. And in a sense, you're going to create the pain from scratch. Personally, I have an experience from that because I broke my ribs squatting, snapped them. It was extremely painful. And after the rehab, the pain was still there. And I didn't understand what was going on. And I got all of the details I could get from my doctor, and he told me, hey, your ribs are mended. They're not broken anymore. The muscles that were sprained are not sprained. What's happening is you've taught yourself that that movement causes pain, and therefore now it does. And I had to unlearn that. I had to do that movement and tell myself, there is no pain. You're not broken. You can move through that. That's an important part of recovering from an injury. When it comes to actually rewiring the mind to make it know that, hey, we're fine, the body has done its job, now it's our turn. The brain has to also do its part. It's not just the body that heals. You're going to find also that as you rebuild the lift that you got injured on, the milestone that is going to be the most important is the weight you hit when you got injured. This should be your number one goal. because if you manage to conquer that, you're going to make insane progress when it comes to mental strength. You're also going to find that that weight that injured you is going to be extremely intimidating. Let's say you got injured on 300 pounds on the bench. 290 is going to feel like 290, who cares? 300 is going to feel like a mountain because you still remember what happened with that 300. But if you can go past that, then the sky is the limit, right? How do we go past that though? I would advise a very slow and methodical approach to reaching that strength again. There is nothing worse after an injury than thinking to yourself, oh man, I wasted so much time, I need to rush, and rushing there, because that's the best way to get injured again. And for me, getting injured once is okay. Getting injured twice doing the same thing is stupid, right? Because you're now creating a pattern of injury. And if you start becoming chronically injured, you are in for a rough time because it is so much harder to break a chain of injury than it is to cut it short at one. It occurs once, you learn your lesson, and now you're not getting injured on this ever again. And it might sound like it's completely evident, but I know that a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people get injured on the deadlift because they pull with a poor form. They tell themselves, okay, I'm going to tighten up my form. They tighten it up to the point where they're like, I kind of want to get stronger again. So they let it go and they get injured again. They never learn. You need to learn. You need to respect your body a little bit, because even though it's extremely resilient, there's going to come to a point where you injured it so many times that it's now snapped up for the rest of your life. So we want to avoid that. So as I said, slow and methodical approach to the weight. Do not hesitate to retake weights if the technique or the strength is not there, and take your time. There is no rush, all right? If you're a bodybuilder, strength is just a number. It's something that you multiply with your reps so that you get tonnage at the end. It's something that helps you progress, but there is no point in progressing if you do this. Injury, back here. Injury, back here. Why don't you just do this? It's much slower, but you're not getting injured. You're not accumulating damage onto your body that potentially is going to plague you for the rest of your life. So take a deep breath, right? You're not fighting against your body to get it strong and on the run as fast as possible. You're working with it, right? Your mind and your body are working together to eventually surpass the strength that you had when you got injured. And the best set you could potentially have with the weight that injured you is a set that is non-challenging. If you can retake that weight eventually after the injury and it feels like a breeze, you're golden, because you've now exorcised that fear. And once you do it once, it becomes much easier to repeat it again. It's sort of counterintuitive to what I said before, where I told you that if you get injured, the more you get injured, the more the cycle repeats and the more often you're going to get injured. But for success, it's the opposite way. It becomes a virtuous circle. The more successes you have when it comes to rehabbing, the better you feel. And it can also be small victories. For example, if you have a day where you do deadlifts and you have a sore lower back, or you have some little SI joint pain, and you manage to retake that weight and you don't have that pain, that's a victory. It adds up, because what you just did was, instead of pushing the weight and being a knucklehead, you just retook the same weights with no pain. So instead of accumulating damage that leads to injury, you accumulated tonnage that leads to injury prevention. And that's how we want to approach this thing when it comes to having a strong mindset to recover from injuries and to also prevent them in the long run. I'm going to make more episodes on that very topic. We're going to talk about broad subjects, but for me, the strength of the mind is just as important as the strength of the body, and I want to share that with you guys. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.